It's here! It's finally here! The last episode of my picks and predictions for the 85th Annual Academy Awards. I'm your host, David Ortega. Like what I did here, I tried to put a white t-shirt underneath a black shirt to make it look like a tuxedo. I'm hopeless. And today I'll be covering the last two categories, the last two big categories left in my picks and predictions segments. So let's get on with it. First up is Best Director. I like to say Best Director. I don't like saying Best Achievement in Directing. I don't like it why they changed the titles of these things. It used to just be Best Director, Best Picture, Best Actor, or at least Best Leading Actor, Best Supporting Actor. Now it's Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role in this movie that came out this year. Anyway, enough of me ranting. The nominees for Best Director are Michael Haneke. I learned how to pronounce his name! Michael Haneke for Amour, Ang Lee for Life of Pi, David O. Russell for Silver Linings Playbook, Steven Spielberg for Lincoln, and Ben Zeitlin, I still don't know how to pronounce his last name, for Beasts of the Southern Wild. My pick would definitely have to be Ben Affleck for Argo. I mean, okay, since we have to be real here, I will have to say that my pick, as well as my prediction, is a bit split. Since Ben Affleck is out of the picture and he's been winning across the board for Argo, who do we have to work with here? Ben Zeitlin for Beasts of the Southern Wild, I mean, he's too much of a newcomer, as is Michael Haneke. Steven Spielberg already has 2 Oscars for the same category under his belt. So my pick and prediction will be split among Ang Lee for Life of Pi and David O. Russell for Silver Linings Playbook. Both handled different material that one-upped the other. Like, for example, with Ang Lee for Life of Pi, it was all about the visuals. It was all about handling the entire 2-hour movie of centering on a CG tiger. I mean, you know it's CG. Even though the effects aren't exactly bad. I mean, it got nominated for Best Visual Effects. But here we have a CG tiger and an Indian boy who's played by an actor that we've never seen before. How do you handle a 2-hour movie on that? This guy did it. And I think we can pretty much say that by now, if you're able to take the gimmick of 3D and apply it to your film and make the 3D one of the best things about the movie, you undoubtedly end up getting a Best Director nomination. Never before have I seen a director change the aspect ratio for a specific scene just so you can say, here's, you know, what 3D can really do, and make us go, holy shit. As for David O. Russell, there's a lot of kinetic movement of the camera where I feel like David O. Russell's taking a page out of The Notebook from Martin Scorsese. With, again, similar to Steven Spielberg in this category, he handled this huge ensemble cast made up of Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, Robert De Niro, Jackie Weaver, Chris Tucker, who we haven't seen in a while, probably because he was at the fast food joint. I'm kidding, that was a little harsh. And on top of that, just bring together this scene where it felt like a real family dealing with real problems about the real world, even if one of those problems happens to be mental disorders. And there's various scenes spread out throughout the film where you can tell that David O. Russell happened to have a firm grip, hopefully not an oppressive grip, because we know what David O. Russell is kind of, yeah. But he had a firm grip and tone and signature upon the entire film. I mean, by now, he's gotten to that point where we know it's a David O. Russell film when he's directing it. Like, we can tell from the cinematography, the camera movement, and above all, the characters, you know. Most of the time, these characters are flawed, but they're still likable and they're still respectable, and they still triumph over the obstacles that they're trying to deal with, even if those obstacles are within the family itself. And I thought that that's the strength that David O. Russell has, is handling family issues not only realistically, but also resolving them realistically. And finally, the big kahuna. Best Motion Picture of the Year. The nominees are Amour, Argo, Beasts of the Southern Wild, Django Unchained, Les Miserables, Life of Pi, Lincoln, Silver Linings Playbook, and Zero Dark 30. Yeah, I forgot that was nominated too. Okay, I couldn't do it with the last category, but I can do it here. My pick is definitely Argo. It's one of the best feel-good movies of this past year and the past couple years. Awesome characters, great dialogue. I mean, there was a critic that said audiences are going to be left cheering. That's how I felt towards the end of this movie. I usually don't believe when critics say audiences will cheer this movie, because when I do, I end up going to see the movie and I'm like, I didn't cheer. I didn't feel like cheering. I mean, it was a good movie, but it wasn't as great as they're describing it to be. Here, I can legitimately say this movie was what they were describing it to be. And hands down, it's just one of my favorite movies of the year. And it's definitely my favorite amongst these nominees. Now, since we're talking about Best Picture, I think I should address the fact of how Argo just rose out of nowhere. So far, the critic favorite was Zero Dark 30. I mean, it was winning a lot of, it was the National Board of Review, I think, named it Best Picture. There were a lot of associations across the country naming it Best Picture. And I don't know, it just had all the strength. It had, it was directed and written by previous Oscar winners, so it had a lot of strength, and it's a definite candidate for Best Actress for Jessica Chastain. Again, arguable, but it is what it is. However, this is a bit of a tragedy. It's like the rise and fall of Zero Dark 30, because it wasn't until all of this controversy about the torture scenes, Catherine Bigelow coming forward to defend the film, while Mark Boal, I believe, I haven't exactly looked into the details, so I might be wrong. I'm admitting that I might be wrong. But I believe Mark Boal, the screenwriter, came forward and said, yeah, torture scenes were but I had to write them. I don't know what that's about, but an awful lot of controversy just shook down and made Zero Dark 30 buckle at the knees. And so now Argo has the upper hand, and now Argo has been winning all the awards that a Best Picture candidate usually wins, like the Producers Guild of America Award, the Directors Guild of America Award, Critics' Choice, Golden Globes, Screen Actors Guild, all of it. So Argo definitely has a strong chance, which is why Argo is one of my predictions for the Best Picture of 2012. The reason why I say one is because I do feel like there is a long shot here. Not necessarily from me, even though I do in fact love this movie. It's actually one of my favorite movies of the year, just not as much as Argo. But I believe the Academy has a long shot here. This is just me, winging it. I'm just simply theorizing here. And I believe the Academy's long shot is Silver Linings Playbook. There's something about this movie that just feels like it could pull off a fast one and a huge surprise come Oscar night. It's nominated for all the top awards: picture, director, screenplay, and if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's the first film in the past 27 or 37. I remember it having 7 at the end. But it's the first film in either 27 to 37 years to be nominated in all 4 acting categories. It's a very rare thing to do, and it's a definite strength for, again, Silver Linings Playbook to pull off a huge surprise. Not to mention, like I said, my pick and prediction would have to be between Ang Lee and David O. Russell. David O. Russell winning Best Director will definitely give it that upper hand and makes Silver Linings Playbook possibly the contender as the night progresses. I mean, it happens. It has happened a couple of times. Maybe just a few more than a couple of times, but it has happened where everybody says, yes, this movie's winning, and then as the night goes on, you're like, oh no, it's not. Long story short, Argo is my pick. My prediction, however, would definitely be Argo, with a potential long shot surprise coming from Silver Linings Playbook. And with that, I close my picks and predictions for this year's annual 85th Academy Awards. That was redundant. Tune in to, I believe it's still ABC on Sunday, February 24th. I believe it starts at either 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I'll have to look it up. I don't know exactly what 100% what time it starts. But when it starts, I will be having a live tweeting event, and by that I'll simply just mean I'll be live tweeting during the ceremony. So I'll post my Twitter link down in the description below. Be sure to follow me. I would really like for you guys to follow me. Like I said, I'm tweeting a lot more recently, so more up-to-date tweets, as well as my live tweeting event during the Oscars. So follow me on Twitter. Tune in to the Academy Awards on Sunday, and as always, take care.